Hi, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution channel. My name is Michael and I'm a car and tech enthusiast. In this series of episodes, we're going to go through a road trip. This road trip is quite a long one because I took it from Sydney to Phillip Island in Victoria, which is a couple of hours from actually Melbourne City. So the trip overall is a minimum of 10 hours without rest stops. With rest stops, with charging stops, of course, it goes for a lot longer. So what we're going to go through in the series of episodes is the trip up, which is over 950 kilometers, 590 miles, one way, and then of course the trip back. In this particular episode, what we're going to go through is the planning of the trip planner within the BYD Seal. We're then going to go through the first charging stop, and then we'll of course move on to episode 2. So I hope you enjoy this episode. So what we're looking at here is a Google map of the trip from origin to destination. Now, Google Maps will not really include charging stops and it won't include refueling stops. So irrespective if you're driving with an EV car or an ICE car, it won't make any difference. But we do see it is a very long trip at almost 10 hours straight without any rest stops. Now, of course, you're going to need rest stops, you're going to need EV charging, you're going to need refueling stops. So at least this gives us an overview, but it's still more important to look at the BYD Seal trip planner that's actually in the vehicle. So let's look at that now. What we're looking at now is the BYD Seal trip planner. Now what we can see here is, again, from the origin to the destination, but the difference is it's actually adding the charges. Now, it's important to note that there's a few settings within the trip planner that I personally set up, which molds this trip route to my specifications. So there's a couple of things I actually set. The first thing is I disabled the Tesla chargers. Now that also means that it uses third-party chargers throughout the trip. The second thing is the range between the percentages. Currently it's set on the default 20 to 80 and I actually left it on that. I think that's a good range to set on the trip planner. What that essentially means is the charge of the car will never drop to under 20%, and if it is going to drop to under 20%, then the trip planner will actually add a charger before that happens. And of course, it will never charge at a charging station to over 80%. And that's what you see there with the EV Intakara. It goes to 80%, so it says you're there for 29 minutes performing that charge. And of course, the third setting there is at the destination at 30%. I set that up because I essentially said I want to arrive with 30% battery left in the vehicle at the destination. Now you can set that to, say, the default is 20%, but you can set that to say 10%, and that could potentially mean you use less charges during your trip. So instead of the 3 charges you see there, maybe it'll turn to 2. Another thing to note is what I did just before I'd left is I took a photo of the instrument display, and that's what you see right now on the screen. And what we can see here is, number one, we left very early, 4:42 in the morning. Now, we did that on purpose because we knew it was going to be a long trip and we wanted to arrive there at a reasonable time. Even though, you know, when we take the trip, I know we're going to take some rest stops and things like that. That's normal. That's what we expect. So the other important thing is we left with 100% fully charged vehicle. That's 632 kilometers, which is a dynamic range in the BYD Seal, and that's what I've set it to. So our expectation is we are going to meet the charging stops at this particular time and on this particular trip planner as expected. So we can now start the trip. Now this is the first charging stop we went to. Now I know I had an EV charger as the first stop on the route planner, but I decided while I was going through this process that EV chargers are everywhere, and I know I'm going to be charging at an EV charger at some stage. So I decided to actually try a different charger, which is why I chose NRMA in this instance, and it's in Riverside Drive, Jugeong. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And it was a 50 kilowatt charger for CCS2 and CHAdeMO. Of course, the BYDs use the CCS2, and it was, quite easy to use. It did go for a little while, so we actually took a rest. We slept in the car, and we needed that because it was an early morning start. So it wasn't a problem at all on this first charger. So I've gone through the process here. Okay, so what we've done now is we've come to the first charging station. This one is after we've got, I think, just over 27 something percent. Of course, this is the Seal. And now we're going to perform the charging. Now we can see here it's saying preparing to charge. And now we can hear it kicking off. It shows my car has 25%. Now we can see there. It's adding energy. Current's at 75, like this car I think can take 150 kilowatt. And it's saying it's doing 43. This is a 50 kilowatt charger. So I might be here for about 28 minutes, I believe. So far so good. No problems at all. So what we see here is the charging that's happening. And this is where we are. So I believe this is saying 2 hours and 14 minutes to the next charging station. So after we spend 28 minutes here, I believe, that'll go to likely 80%. Yeah, so what we can see, it's now 82%. So I'm just going to stop here and continue the travels. This is exactly what's shown. So that's pretty good. Didn't take too long. Now I'll just end it so I can continue on my travel. There we are. Wow, 69 minutes. Get to 83%. I was able to take rest, and it's good to see it's warmed up. It was 7 degrees when we got here. Finishing. And that's what we see now. and we can continue on our travels.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
Now we've finished with that stop, we're just going to quickly look at the current trip route to the destination and where we're currently at. Now you see there that Google Maps shows a certain trip and a certain time to reach the destination, and the trip planner, which I believe is more accurate, actually shows the same trip that's remaining, but it also includes the distance for the next turns and the time taken for the next charging station. So we continue on our travels. So that was the end of the first episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this content with anyone you know that would like this type of video, and of course, leave a comment if you're happy with it. Until the next time, because episode 2 goes through the second charging stop, I will see you there. Bye for now.